Hey, everybody, welcome back to the 20th episode of Taps and Patience. And yes, I counted this time because we screwed that up last time. I am AJ with Design the Everything, here with Harrison of Precision Ingenuity. Hey, Harrison, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, AJ. How are you doing this evening?
I am doing pretty good. I have not had any more of that pneumonia attacking me again like I have the last couple of weeks, so
That's awesome.
that's a win.
Yeah. Well, I had a little bit of a sickness that hit me over the weekend. It was a weird deal, but um, I'm starting to get over it, and I'm starting to feel a lot better. So,
That That's always good.
hmm
Being
and
sick sucks.
it does. I was able to work. I mean, if I had actually taken a day off from work, I probably would be gotten better faster.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked every day this week, so um, oh well.
Yep.
I just went really slow on like Monday. I was like, I know I'm not 100%, so I'm just going to like take everything really slow. That way I don't screw something up. And
Yep. Slow and
thankfully
careful.
it went really smooth, and like I wasn't going fast, but you know how they say slow is fast or smooth is fast?
Slow,
Like
smooth, smooth is fast.
yeah, exactly. So that kind of happened in a way where it was like I felt like I was going really slow, but like stuff actually flowed through really well. So,
That's good.
but um, let's see here. I'm starting to feel like we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel.
Woohoo!
Um, um, at least currently. And I apologize for those that are weekly listeners, and it feels like a roller coaster where one week I feel like I'm on, I'm not sure if we're gonna make it, and I need to find something else. And other weeks it's like, we're actually doing pretty good. But I mean, that's kind of what business is. But right now we're swamped. So and we still have more and more people reaching out to us, wanting to look at stuff. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pleasantly busy. So
Is this busyness coming from job shop stuff or the firearm world or the
both,
Etsy world? Oh,
all
okay.
the above, all the
Nice.
above. So our Etsy stop hasn't really tanked since Christmas. It's really we've done about this much. We've done as much this month as I think we did during our December month.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
about the same, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. But we've had some pretty big orders after Christmas that some of the largest orders we've ever seen on our store from a single purchase have
Mm-hmm.
been after this month. So I'm not sure where that's coming from, but it is very helpful, and I'm hoping we can continue to build that momentum. Um, our job shop stuff, we've had some job shop stuff, but we're now starting to like we've bid it and we got it, and now we're starting to fulfill the work. And one of our largest job shop jobs to date, I'm in the middle of, and I've done um it's 107 parts, and I believe I'm over 30 parts of the way through it.
Okay.
Um and it's due November 14th. So I've got a pretty healthy jump start on it.
Wait,
Um
November?
I mean not November. Sorry.
Okay, I was about to say it's like
Fe-
that's a long lead time.
February 14th. It's like
Okay.
3 weeks out.
Yeah.
Um and so I'm excited about that, but we're probably gonna have to pull off of that because we got a lot of gun stuff that's come in. I've got some RMR cuts, barrel threading, Cerakote work, um, some general maintenance stuff on some
Mm-hmm.
guns. We have one guy who he's got a Henry lever action 22, and he wanted some laser work and a big loop put on it, so we're gonna do that. Um, we finished our did I talk about last week about the black powder rifle that we were doing kind of like as a
Yes.
John Wick
And
build?
I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah, so we finished that up. Turned out amazing. The guy was over the moon with it, and it's the one that I gravitate to showing everyone. Like it's like the coolest thing that we've done. I feel like to
Mm-hmm.
date. And I really want to see that build when it's done. And the guy was super happy. He said that he's gonna be back, and he's got some other buddies he's gonna send our way. Um, and then right before this, ironically, I had a meeting with my insurance company, They do this thing where for my car insurance, it's State Farm. They do this thing where they want to meet with you in person like once every year or two, just to kind of go over your policy and kind of do this kind of stuff. Well, they never did that with me, and so my agent a month or so ago was like, "Hey, I feel really embarrassed, but we've never actually had you in here, and so we
Yeah.
need you to come in and kind of touch base on a few things." So I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So I get in there, and he's got a couple gun shells on his desk.
Hmm.
And so that kind of led to the conversation about, what am I doing now? And told him I started business and started doing some gun stuff. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. And so I got an opportunity to share my business a little bit with him. And then his boss comes in, and I guess he's got this like diver's watch or something. And he dinged it up. And this guy's really
Hmm.
particular, I guess, just from talking to him. And he scratched it. And now he wants to get the whole thing Cerakoted. And
Oh, interesting.
He's like, I've been looking for someone to Cerakote this watch for me. He's like, I got a watchsmith who will break it down to all the different components,
Hmm.
um,
Okay,
and
good.
then and then I can bring it to you and then have it. But he said, I've been looking for someone to Cerakote it because he's like, I've done a whole bunch of research and Cerakote seems like the best thing. I was like, yeah, we can do that. And I was showing him my Instagram. He's like, wait, you guys also do engraving? He's like, I might have to have you do Cerakote and laser work on my watch. And I was like, okay, well, let's manage expectations a little bit here.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had to break down a few things and be like, okay, what makes sense? Because if you're really particular about your watch and a little ding like that is a big deal, then we need to go manage some expectations on the front end.
Yeah.
Um, because like I can do laser work and I can laser cut the crown and backfill because that's what he wanted to do is the crown, the part that rotates on it. He wanted to it's a sticker right now, and he wanted to peel the sticker off, Cerakote that area, and then laser engrave it, and then backfill it with a
Hmm.
different color. And we can totally do all that. But if he's as particular as he was acting like in person, then we'd have to get that watch perfectly aligned on center with the
Yes.
laser, which can be done. But I don't like having that kind of pressure on the front end
Yep.
if it's that kind of customer, I just know you're going to be off by the smallest fraction, and I mean, it's really hard to line those things up to the like. I say it's really hard. You can get really close, but you're getting eyeball close. Like
Hmm.
it's not like a mill where you can come in and probe something. It's all you just set it in there. There's no physical. Oh, I know exactly where this part is type deal. Um, and so because of that, I
You
was like,
got
okay,
one
let's.
shot.
Yeah, I was like, I got one shot at this, and I was like, if it's off a little bit, and you look close at it, is that going to be something that's going to bother you? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, okay, then let's back up and let's see. Like, I'll Cerakote it a solid color, and he's like, yeah. He's like, the guy said that he can pull that little plastic ring off, and then we can Cerakote it, and then we can stick it back on. I'm like, okay, I can do that. I'm comfortable
Yep.
Cerakoting it one color. If you give me the pieces, we can do that. So we might end up doing that. I'm not sure yet, but he's over the moon, and I'm just glad to be able to branch out more and share more. Um, stuff like that. It's not going to be, we're not going to get a whole bunch of watch business. But he talks to a lot of people because he's an insurance guy. So I mean, he's got people from all walks of life, and if he can, say, talk about, oh man, I got this watch Cerakoted by these guys. They're local, they're awesome. That's gonna help.
Yep. Definitely can't hurt.
So, anyways, I've been talking a little bit. What's going on with you?
So I've been doing some machining today, which is good. I have a couple things that are all going together right now. The prototype of the month club this month is for a pen. Now I had designed this pen like in 2020, I think, or 2019, and I
Mm-hmm.
had made one prototype, and this was back on the Pocket NC. So this
Mm-hmm.
this pen was done on that little tiny 5-axis mill,
That's
and
super impressive.
it's worked. It's never been perfect, but it has worked for all this time. And so I'm finally getting around to doing at least a little bit of a production run of them. This pen was originally designed to be made with a piece of tube, and then the nose and the tail end, the button, or what I call the bolton, on the back was going to be a solid piece. Though at the last minute, I called an audible, and instead of making it out of brass or aluminum or stainless steel, I decided to make them out of Ultem, which is
Oh,
a fancy engineering plastic, and you can only really get the Ultem in solid bar. So now I'm making them out of 3/8 inch diameter bar instead of the tube, which caused me to do a redesign of the entire pen because I didn't want to drill a 4-inch long hole in a 3/8 inch piece of material. That sounded like
yeah.
a nightmare. So instead, I'm going to be drilling 2-inch deep holes in a 3/8 inch piece of material, which might still be a nightmare,
Nice.
but half the nightmare. The biggest problem I've had so far, though, is my material keeps getting delayed. It was
Oh
supposed to be
no.
here like 2 days ago, and it is. I'm not even sure it's shipped yet. So
Are you going to do this in the mill holding it vertical?
yes, I'm holding the material vertical in the mill,
Okay.
or that's the theory at least.
Are you gonna custom make some soft jaws
Yes.
to hold them? Okay. Nice.
I'm kind of thinking I need some like tall soft jaws
Yeah,
so that it'll give it the more support.
because you only have the Saunders jaws, correct? Or the
Yes.
Saunders. Yeah. Hmm. That's an
So I
interesting.
have the pen design and cammed. I have not. I have not designed the work holding yet, though. Some of it can
Now,
be done on my micro arc, but the rest will need to be done vertically in soft jaws, or maybe I buy like a collet fixture or something.
yeah, for sure. They sell, and this is something we've looked at, or I've wanted to get for a while, is those collet blocks for like C5 collet blocks that are
Oh, that's
like
actually a really good idea.
you can get in like a 4-sided or 6-sided.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good idea.
I want to get some of those just to have because they could be very useful.
They make them in ER40 too, ER40 as well,
Hmm.
and I'm more likely to use ER40 collets. That's a good idea. They're not expensive either.
No, no, and that would allow you to hold it vertical, very, and get a lot of support behind it.
Yes, that is the way. You are 100% correct. I'm going to buy one of those.
Glad I could help.
Um,
now, now, are you going to be external thread? Like, are these threaded together?
yes. So the nose section will have male threads. The butt section will have female threads.
Okay. Are you using for the external threads in particular? Are you doing a single point um,
Yeah, it's
helical?
all thread milled
Okay.
on
Yeah.
both sides. It is a 5/16 48 thread, which
That's a
is a fun one.
yeah. That's a. So that means for the ID one, you're also going to have to thread mill it.
Yes, all of it.
Yeah.
You can get a 5/16 48 tap,
Yeah.
but I might
That's
as well
cool.
just thread mill.
That's cool. Yeah,
I mean, I've done
we
it
had
once
it.
before, so I know it's possible.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. That's something I hadn't thought about. We have a similar problem we're thinking through right now,
Mm-hmm.
where a customer has a barrel that they want threaded, which we can do, but they have a front sight that is drilled and tapped to the front, and
Uh
it's
huh.
6 by 48.
6 by.
48 number, like a number six
So,
screw.
oh, okay. I was like, wait, that's a 6-inch diameter thread with
No, no, no,
48
no.
TP. Okay.
No, number six screw. So it's like number 6 by 32 and number 6 by 40 are the two commons, and
Yeah.
this is a 48, which I guess is a
Okay,
gun
that's not too bad.
specific. It's not too bad, except we've only been able to find one tap, and it was on McMaster, and it's uncoated, which is
So
fine for this, but I hadn't thought about trying to find like a really tiny thread mill to be able to do that either.
Yeah, thread mills are awesome. I like thread mills.
Yeah, I've really like we used our first like we've only had one thread mill so far,
Uh-huh.
and every time I've been able to use it, I have absolutely loved it. So,
Yeah. Um, there is a seller on eBay, which is like the place to get thread mills, by the way. I can
oh
send
really?
you the link later, but they are cheap and they're pretty good. Um, I've had one thread mill that has made literally hundreds, if not thousands, of parts at this point, and it's the same thread mill that I have been using. It was like $38 or something, or
Mm-hmm.
$30 from eBay, and I've had that thing for years. It survived the Pocket NC. It I don't think it was ever on the Shoreline, but it survived the Pocket NC. It survived the old Tormach. It survived the new Tormach, and like I bought a spare, and I've never used the spare because that one thread mill has lasted so long.
Oh man, that's
So
awesome.
I'll send you that person. I don't remember the name of their store, but it's like the place to get thread mills.
Sweet.
So I just bought an ER40 collet block.
Nice.
uh, so speaking of collets, I was working on a project today that
Mm-hmm.
needed a well, I was tapping a hole and I was going to rigid tap it on the mill,
Mm-hmm.
and I assumed the shank was going to be either 1/8 inch or 3/16
Mm-hmm.
because it was a tiny tap. It was an A80, and it's like a weirdo in between size. It was like 140 thousandths.
Hmm.
Um, and I did not have a collet for that. And I don't know about you. Like, do you have a way of getting collets quickly for a reasonable price? Because I do
We have
not.
we have most of the collets that we need right now.
Mm-hmm.
This big job I'm doing, I'm having to get a little bit creative. I'm having to swap some stuff around. I'm having to disassemble a lot of my aluminum tooling just
Mm.
to make sure we have enough ER collets. But I bought from Tormach, I bought their ER collet set that it goes in like 1/32 inch increments.
Yep.
And at 1/32 of an inch, you have enough crush range that you can go in any size between like I don't know if it's a 1/8 is the smallest or if it goes down to like a 1/16. But you go down somewhere that's it might 1/16 might be the smallest, and it goes all the way up to half inch in 1/32 inch increments. Um,
Yeah. I needed a 5/32 collet or a 4 millimeter collet. Either one would have worked for me.
yeah, I would just buy
Um,
one of those sets because then you
I
have at
know I
least
need to.
one of all sizes. That's what we did, and I'm almost thinking about ordering a second one of those because for this big job, I'm running into a lot of metric tapping where I need two of like odd sizes.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
in the past I have had those collet sets and I've sent them off with the machines that belong to. But what I always ran into is okay, I would have, 40 different collets and I would need 10 1/8 inch collets, but I would only have one. And
oh
so for
yeah,
this machine, I've just only bought the collets that I need. And so like I have 1/8 inch collets, I have 3/16 inch collets, I have 3/8 inch collets, I have
yeah,
1/4 inch collets, and that's really all I ever use.
that's true. Because you don't really do a whole lot of big stuff. Because I've used everything. I've used everything from um 1/16 all the way up to half inch. I have used every single one of the collets that I have.
Yeah. I 98% of all the tools that I use are 1/8, 3/16, quarter, 3/8.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I guess, I mean, I have the occasional drill, but I really don't like, I'm, I don't use a large variety of drills normally. And this project, the pen is kind of the exception because the pen is like all drills. Um, but like I haven't needed the extra collets in those ranges, and but this one tap did me in, and I wasn't able to. I got the job set up, and then I went to like start loading tools, and like the last tool was that that A80 tap,
Mm-hmm.
and And it's like, well, I guess I'm ordering a tap and tearing this back down and setting up the next thing I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're getting off random sizes, I mean, last time I looked, I could get stuff off of Tormach pretty easily.
Yeah.
But
It's just, I don't know, impatient, I guess. Yeah, Tormach actually may have been one of the faster ways I could have gotten a cheaper collet. I ended up going with my normal Technics collets that I
mhm.
just get off of Amazon. Um, Technics is a good brand and they have great collets, so that's generally what I do.
that
The
that go ahead. I have a thought, but go ahead.
I was gonna say the problem I have is that Amazon, like Amazon Prime, where I am, is not really a thing. Like 2 day shipping isn't like it never happens in our area. If they ever say 2 days, it'll still be like 4 or 5 days. All right,
That
what was
makes
your thought?
sense. So all of the tool holders that I have pretty much all been from Tormach. I haven't actually ever looked at getting in to some nicer collet holders of other brands. I'm wondering how big a difference that would actually make in some of the stuff we do.
Um, I know that I like all of my tool holders that aren't Tormach more. And I've
Okay.
never like sat down and measured the run out comparatively, but I got some used tool holders that were a combination of Technics and RegoFix,
Mm-hmm.
and they are fantastic. They're all ER16, and those are just the best. I bought them blind, like off of Facebook Marketplace. The guy was like, "Hey, I have five. I don't remember if it was 5 or 6, but I have 5 or 6 ER16 tool holders. They're BT30, and I was like, you know what? I'll take them." And they were like
Mm-hmm.
25% cheaper than the Tormach ones. And then I got them. They were shipped to me, and they were all RegoFix and Technics. And it was like, oh, this was the best deal I've made in a long time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So your Rego fix is are those are still ER or is that
ER,
are
yeah.
those okay? Because isn't Rego fix aren't they known for what are they known for?
The thing that they've become popular for lately is that power grip system,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm thinking of.
RegoFix invented the ER collet.
Okay. Okay. So they're okay. So they did the ER call and now they have the Power Grip series.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, and then Technics, I don't know much about Technics. I just know that they're a good brand. They make
Yeah.
nice stuff.
Yeah.
So I ordered a set of ER16 collets that were like the just super cheap, crappy Chinese ones off
Mm-hmm.
of Amazon because the shipping was a little bit faster on them, at least according to Amazon. And then I paid $12 for 16 ER16 collets, and then I think it was $23 for one of the Technics ER16 collets. So,
Oh wow, that's nice.
but yeah, it was kind of a bummer to not have that one collet that I needed when I needed it.
Yeah, that always messes you up. Um, yeah, there's been several situations where I almost was in the same boat, but I was able to work my way around it. So with the collets I had, I had to move things around,
Yep.
but
Yeah, I
which is
tried. I just had none of the collets.
which is much
Nothing.
easier now that we have the automatic tool setter. Like
Yes.
um, looking back to before we had the automatic tool setter, like I don't think I'll ever order a machine without a tool changer and an automatic tool setter in my life.
Yes.
Like
And a probe.
both, yeah, and a probe. Which today I really wanted to have a wireless probe so bad on my Tormach, because I wanted to be able to program a probing routine before every single run. Um, because I was constantly going between the probe and the um, tool changer, and I just don't have a way to automate that right now. So,
I was
which
wishing
don't.
I had it for the pen because
Mhm.
um I wanted to be able to probe the end of every pen before I machined it, just in case my soft jaws were a little bit wonky. Though I think we may
Mhm.
have fixed that problem with that call up block. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, and for me, I'm machining some of these plates, and they're all water jet cut. Um, and they're water jet cut from a local company that has like the world's highest precision water jet. So it's supposed to be like super, super accurate, which is true, except um, their slats were basically all the way worn out.
Mm.
Um, which is this is some heavy plate, and he the guy was like, I'm happy to do it now because I don't like doing heavy plate, but because my slats are basically already destroyed, um, it's fine. And but with that, I think they kind of moved while
Yeah.
being cut some, just because it was didn't have a strong support underneath it. And actually, he was telling me that some of the slats, like while he was cutting it, they had actually cut through the slats because they were just so far gone, and they started dropping out the bottom. He was able to get them all cut, but um, yeah, fun times.
Yep.
So,
I just remembered something that I forgot to mention
mhm,
because I think it was kind of the beginning of last week is I redid my shipping station. And that's actually where I'm podcasting from right now. And the video viewers may notice that I'm in something that looks very different. And granted, the
mhm,
ugly side of the room is kind of behind me. My kids hang out in that half of the room when I'm in here working and they need to be somewhere.
mhm.
Um, but I redid my shipping station and it is a million times better. It
It makes
is,
a huge difference.
it's incredible. The difference, and at this point it's the most comfortable place I have to work, so like it's just become my desk. Like this is where I just sit down and do cam or whatever now.
You got to be careful with that though, because it's eventually going to not turn into your shipping desk and to become the
My desk.
everything desk, and it's going to collect all this clutter, and then it's not going to be useful for the whole purpose that you got it set up for.
Yeah, I'm good about decluttering it. Like I work on a laptop, so it's easy to take it off.
Okay.
But yeah.
Now I did, excuse me, I did see a video on your Instagram this week of your toolbox, like you're showing
The
all your
toolbox
different stuff.
tour.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was awesome. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's kind of been slowly going on in the background for gosh a month or two. But I've just been using the Gridfinity system and slowly improving the toolbox. And there was like I almost bought a second toolbox because I thought my toolbox was full. And then I started organizing it with the Gridfinity system and 3D printing custom bins for everything or using standard bins for them. And now my toolbox feels empty, which is a nice feeling.
Yeah, it looked really sweet. I was really impressed with how far along you've come with that, because I remember when you first were getting started with that and you just had a few boxes printed, and it doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
Yeah. You just
So,
one box at a time is
hmm,
really what it comes down to.
yeah, and it doesn't. It feels like it takes forever, but then you look back and you're like, really, it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
It didn't take that long. So, no, I like that. We might have to someday change our system out to a Gridfinity, but before I do that, I think we need to have a CO2 laser so we can cut out
Do the bases.
do the bases with out of a big piece.
Have I ever described shelfinity?
You've mentioned it, I think.
So shelfinity is like I'm now actually starting to use it. And in fact, here is one of the bins.
Hmm.
I have all of my stickers laid out here on the shipping station, but they are all laser cut bins, except they have 3D printed feet. And just like
Hmm.
Gridfinity, there's a base that you put down, except unlike the Gridfinity bases, they're not 90% air. So they're a lot more robust and they work better on something like shelves. And then also it's like 8 times the size or something than the Gridfinity grid. Uh, and because it's all laser cut, it actually like it's much faster to do.
Hmm.
Though you do have to glue the bins together. So I've been slowly expanding that system.
Yeah. So has that CO2 laser? Have you used it a lot more than you thought you would, or has it been
Yes,
okay? Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be for packaging. I bought it for to do packaging, but it's actually really a staple of the shop at this point.
Yeah. That's kind of what happened with our laser. Um, but then again, ours are two different applications, and I feel like if we got the CO2 laser, it'd make we'd have a whole nother area that we'd be
Yeah, I
just
need your laser. You need my laser.
yeah.
We both need one of each.
Yeah. Um, but that's awesome. That is so cool. Um, Kickstarter. How's that coming? Did you get
Yes.
our package?
Yes, yeah, I got the coins from you. They look great. They're still in the box. I haven't really done anything with them yet.
How'd the
I
box handle the transport, by the way?
just fine, no problems.
Uh, okay. We were so worried about that. Like, we went back and forth, like, is this going to work? Are they going to blow up and go everywhere? Like, that's when I really wanted a laser, was to, because I would have, lasered out for
Mm,
all those different coins to
yeah.
keep them in like organized rows. Um, but that thing was heavy
Yes.
for the size it was. Had some heft to it.
But
But
yeah, the Kickstarter, they're well, they were all sold out. Two people canceled their orders today, and I think I already have people who are wanting to grab those. In fact, I need to make sure that I open up a spot for somebody at 9 p.m. before, so they can grab it before anyone else does. And then
gotcha.
someone else just claimed the other one, so it
That's awesome.
yeah.
So when when our last podcast came out last week, did you have some people message you, be like, "Oh man, I wanted a coin, but I just saw that it sold out. I was just listening to the podcast."
I don't think so. No, I didn't have anyone mention it via podcast or whatever. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I haven't had anyone like, oh, I missed out.
Yeah.
Um, I think enough of the people who care are following my Instagram, and it was announced on my Instagram,
Okay.
so they had a chance.
Okay.
But
Yeah. No, that went really fast. So
yeah,
it was like 4 days. Is that what it was?
I think it was 2 or 3. It was either on the third day or on the fourth day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, it was.
yeah. Anyway, yeah.
No, that was cool. It went fast. So.
Yeah, I started machining the coin stands today.
Ooh.
I have probably 16 machined or something right now of the 40. So I'll finish up the machining on those tomorrow and start powder coating.
Now, how are you machining those? Because we talked a little bit about maybe sticking cork on the bottom. Is that something
Yes,
you're
and I
going to
am
do?
doing the cork on the bottom of them. I am
Okay.
doing them in a strip. I do 4 at a time in a mod vise just with the serrated jaws, and then I just flip them over into a second mod vise and do the back.
Okay. And are you counter doing the pocket and just having it um the cork just sit in that a little bit?
Yes, yeah, I go down. I think it's like half a millimeter on the back, and I think the cork is a millimeter tall, so that'll kind of
Sweet.
keep the cork from running away. And I drill a hole in the bottom that I can use as fixturing for the powder coat.
That is awesome. I love that. That's
So
sweet.
I get a finished set of 4 about every 20 minutes. I think it was 20 minutes, and I turned on tool breakage detection, which is really slow on the Tormach. So it's probably like 22 minutes now or something like that. But
Yeah. I've never actually used tool breakage detection.
it's super easy. It's just a switch, and well, assuming you're using the zoom speed post, it's just a switch in the post.
Yeah, I haven't switched to that yet.
Yeah. Is
I need to.
your Do you have your tool setter permanently mounted on the table, or is it free floating?
It's permanent. It's permanent.
Okay. Yeah. I
So
mean,
it'd be
then
real.
you've done 99% of the work.
Yeah, it'd be real easy. If it's just a switch, then it'd be real easy. Um, and it might have saved my. Well, I didn't really break anything, but I had a tool that I took out and then I put it back in, and I changed it out into a different holder because I needed to steal a collet. And when I
Mm-hmm.
stuck it back in, I forgot to measure it,
Mm.
and I ran a program. Thankfully, it was a drill bit, and it was within 20 or 30 thou. But when I was watching it run, oh, excuse me, I need to cough a second.
The the way I do tool breakage detection is I have it set up where it checks after the tool runs. You can also set it up for before the tool runs to check your offsets, though, which is probably well, maybe not safer. I don't know, safer depending on how you want to look at it.
But anyways, I ended up drilling a hole a little bit deeper, but it didn't hurt anything, and it was totally fine for the parts that I was doing. But Whenever I just noticed it, whenever it was coming in to drill the hole, I was like, that doesn't look like as much clearance
It's
as it's
really
supposed to
close.
be.
Yeah.
That's really close. Like, what's going on here? And then I like retouched the tool off, and I was like, oh, it was like 50 thou longer than what it was previously.
Yeah.
So yeah, I forgot to touch that off.
I almost made a big oopsie today. The way that I am locating the material in the jaws for op 1 is I place a 1, 2, 3 block against a dowel pin just to
Mm-hmm.
set the spacing, and then I probed the material the first time, and now just to replace it every time I just throw in the 1, 2, 3 block, snug the material up against it, take the
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3 block out and hit go. That way there's not like a work stop or anything that's nearby, and my Kowalski precision work stop that I love is otherwise occupied. So I was just doing that, and I loaded up the material, but I used the 2-inch side of the 1, 2, 3 block instead of the 3-inch side of the 1, 2, 3 block. And so
Mm.
like the whole part was shifted an inch over, which would have definitely broken my tool and ruined my material.
Oh
And
my.
I was about to hit cycle start, and I went, wait a second, something's not right here. What looks wrong? And then I immediately figured out what I did.
Well, usually an inch is pretty easy to see
Yes.
in the machining world.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Um, so I might be getting confirmation in a week or two on our large laser printing job or larger laser engraving job that would be continuous. And the company that's actually building um, these things, they came by to drop off some parts for laser engraving. Um, and I was talking to the guy because he's an engineer. We both went to the same school together, and he actually worked with me at my old job for a little bit and kind of bounced around and ended up at this other place. And I was talking with him about this job coming up, and he was real excited because their company's actually building them these deals for these RVs. And the owner of the company, he said, was talking to another RV manufacturer about getting this thing installed into it. And if that happens, then he's looking at probably, I won't, this is just like complete speculation, but it could be close to 300 units a month, which would be just
That'd be awesome.
amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be enough work that would keep this laser busy pretty much 24/7. Um, and so I'm gonna need a second laser or some form of automation if this job lands. Period. And like it's just gonna have to happen. Um, and I've just been holding off because I've been in talks with this guy for over 2 or 3 months at this point, and nothing's moved. So I don't want to go out and spend money that I don't have, but I'm more than willing to spend money if I need to. So
Yes. Well, get the PO first.
exactly. But as soon as I get that PO in my hand, like I'm probably ordering another laser, like same day.
Yep.
So, um, but that's exciting. Could be a lot more work than we were originally estimating.
I did something that you'll be
Oh,
proud of me for.
yeah, let's hear it.
You've been talking about was it Asana or no, Monday.com
Mm-hmm.
system. So in the past, I have used Airtable for the same kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I had kind of fallen off of that, mostly because it was just me working by myself and I didn't really need to communicate with anyone. And,
Mm-hmm.
but I reopened that up because now I am working with that, my buddy who does the video editing. And
Mm-hmm.
this last video, the one about the coins, was late, mostly because we were doing a bad job of communicating with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, I'll build a system. And so I set up a system in Airtable for us to be able to communicate. It tracks all of the videos that are in the queue. Let's see what's on it. There's like the due date, the how long I expect it to take, any notes that I have for him, all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. and then he can mark off the hours that he worked on it for, paying him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can track when it was actually uploaded, just to see, how we're doing schedule wise.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very helpful. Just setting that up, he was immediately like, I really like this. This is a big improvement over what we were doing, which was texting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And then
go ahead.
I was going to say, and then I also set up a system because that was so successful. I basically cloned that over and changed some of the columns and have one specifically for the freelance graphic design work that he does for me. And I put some projects in there that were like, I need this done at some point. It doesn't have to be done now. Just do them whenever you feel like you want some money.
Mm-hmm.
And some that were like, I need this now. And it has all the same information. Like, I think this will take, between 0 and 3 hours, or 3 to 6 hours, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, basically, as soon as I gave him all that information, he was like, okay, I can do this work now. And he started, chugging on it. So that was a big win.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, it's systems like that, like, you don't really think of them, but as soon as you get them in place and then you try, like, our Monday.com, our trial ended and we were doing the free stuff and we were debating doing the paid version. Because we ultimately decided to do it just because it was so useful. But
Yes.
it was funny listening to my cousin go from a tune of, well, we'll give it a shot, to okay, this is not going to work. We need to get the paid version. Like,
Yeah.
I am not going back to what we were doing before because this is revolutionized. Like, we know exactly what's going on within the business, and we can keep up with each other really well. So
I will say Airtable does have the automations. I checked, and I think they're free. I am on a paid account, but it's like a middle tier paid account that I basically just have for my Airtable forum.
Mm-hmm.
Or form, not forum. But I think it's included with the normal free stuff. So Airtable has that too.
Nice.
And also, I need to change how I set up my automations, because when I add a new job for Scott in my Airtable thing, I get like 37 emails the way I have it set up. So,
oh no, yeah, that's not good.
Yeah,
but
I have it set up where, like, there's a couple different columns, and if those columns change, then it'll send me an email. But when I first make the thing, I change, like, technically I'm changing all the columns. So I need to give it some logic that's like, hey, don't send the emails if it's brand new.
Yeah. Yeah. And we need to do some work on ours because we've got the job shop area working really good, or like what's going on in the shop. But the purchasing tab to track stuff that's coming in or going out or anything like that, like, we don't use it and keep up with it nearly as much as we do the other one. But it's just as important. It's just, it's not on your mind every day. And I still want to get emails of like, hey, this stuff should have arrived today, or should be arriving today. If it doesn't arrive, maybe contact whoever or check your shipping info if you have it, whatnot. Because if stuff is delayed, it's good to know about it in advance.
So you have it set up where, so let's say you need to order, I don't know, collets. So you order collets from your preferred collet supplier. You hit buy. It says, okay, they'll be delivered on Thursday. Then you go over, you put that order into your Monday.com and say, hey, it's going to be delivered Thursday. Then it sends you an email if they don't show up.
Yep.
That's smart. I like that system.
Yeah. And we have it actually tied back to the jobs that we're doing. So, like, if we need to order something for a job, like, I'll create the job and then we can actually tie the two different pages together. And so I can create a job, a sub job in purchasing for that job. And I'm saying job a lot. And anyways, I can create a sub item and I can put in there a note like, need to figure out what material to order and needs to be ordered by so-and-so by this date or from, whatever, need to order tooling, whatever. And I can have that note in there. That way I know that I've gotten the job, or I could put it in advance and be like, when I get the job, I've bid the work. I have a note in purchasing. That way, whenever I get the work and move it into active jobs, it'll be like, hey, you need to order material now. So just something there to kind of remind us, because we've had times where we don't order stuff and then we have to
Mm-hmm.
overnight it. And
Yeah.
so that's the big thing that I want to avoid is I want to know um, if something needs to be ordered, if it's on ordered, and if when's it supposed to get here. Um,
So I have a confession. Would
mhm.
you like to guess how many times or how many McMaster orders I've done in the last 3 days?
In the last 3 days, I'm gonna guess
Yeah.
at least four, just
I have
because
done
that's what.
7 McMaster orders in the last three
Oh,
days.
oh my.
I keep part of it is because my schedule got rearranged. Actually, it's been rearranged a couple times. First, because of the pen material not showing up when I expected it, and then once again because of not having the tap. Um, and
Yeah,
part of it was also like there were just things that I missed on the first order, and
yeah.
so yeah, I'm not
Oh,
proud of it.
part of the other reason we want to do it, or I want to get that system nailed out better, is because I want to be able to, if we're doing a McMaster order, like I want to have stuff built up in queue. Like this needs to get ordered from McMaster, maybe not today, but on the next major order, add it in. That way, we're only paying for shipping once,
Yeah.
and that way, if we get something that's urgent, we can just add everything to it at the same time, and place a big order, and pay for shipping once.
Yes. Because I
Instead of
basically wasted like $60 on shipping is what
yeah,
it comes down to.
yeah.
Uh, yeah. I mean, I don't regret it. Like I would make the same decisions again if presented with the same choices.
Mm-hmm.
But like I definitely could have done that more efficiently.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's just part of learning and growing. Um, but I have another interesting thought that's kind of come up. So, on the gun side, we have this one customer who is extremely pushy.
Okay.
Um, in the sense that like he'll come into the shop and say like, "I need you guys to do this," and we'll be like, "Whoa, we've never done that before." Oh no, no, it's not that bad. You guys can do it. Just do it. Well, we really want to get some practice in, or it's going to take a lot longer, or XYZ. And he's like, no, I need you guys to do that. Okay, we'll give it a shot. Well, we had a situation like that, and it was on this really high end gun, and we were not comfortable working on it. We told him that up front, and he's like, no, 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 it's cool. Just give it a shot. And I was like, okay, whatever. We'll give it a shot, I guess. And you can call us a pushover. Maybe that's our fault. But it required like a $300 tool. And so we told them that, and we're like, hey, we're not buying this tool. Like, we told you we didn't want to do this job. We're not shelling out $300 for, for like a, you know, a barrel threading. Like, that's not going to come anywhere close to paying for that on a gun that we're probably never going to see again in our entire careers. So, um, and he was just like, okay, well, don't do it. And he talked to the customer. He's like, okay, well, I guess do it. He's like, I'll buy the tool. I was like, okay. So we bought the tool and we started working on it. And I called the manufacturer and I was on the phone with him, and I went through all the steps of how to take the barrel apart off this gun. Um, and it ended up shearing off a pin, which is a really common problem, and it's covered under warranty for these guns. And so we sent it off to the manufacturer. It's not going to cost us anything. It's just going to take more time.
Yep.
And so this guy called in for an update, and we're like, hey, there was a problem. It's a common known problem with these guns. It's covered under warranty. They're going to fix it. And when they get it back to us, we'll get the barrel threaded and go from there. And then he's like, oh man, my customer's blowing up on me. We got to get this gun done now. And I'm just like, we didn't want to do this from the beginning. Like we told you all this stuff up front, but it seems like every gun that he brings in it's just a difficult challenge. And I'm kind of tempted to be like, after we're done with
Fire
him,
him. No
just
more
be like,
customers.
we're not doing anything for you again. Like, I don't know. We're he might be the first person that we have to turn down permanently.
Or
So
you 10x your prices. But yeah,
yeah,
I would be honest with them. Like, hey, this isn't working for us.
yeah,
It's not me, it's you. Bye.
yeah. So um, anyways, we'll see. Um, I don't like doing that. I like giving people the benefit of a doubt, but he is extremely pushy. And the annoying thing is that on he's pushy on time and on price and on just everything. And it's just like, you know, but he's dealing with all these super high end clients is kind of his business because he's in the high end part of town. And so I know how much that he's probably charging for all this stuff. And
Yeah.
he's like, well, I got to make money on this too. And it's like, yeah, I realize that, dude, but you're making, more money than we are on this. And you're asking us to reduce the price because, you know, you don't think you can get it, but you're doubling or tripling it. So, anyways, it's just, we'll see. Frustrations.
Yep.
But
I had something that I lost right there.
yeah, I was gonna say it looked
Um,
like you had something you're gonna say.
can can I call you out on something? I want to call you out on something.
Please,
Is it okay?
please. Yeah.
So with those coins came a new sticker from you that I had not seen before.
Okay.
I don't know if it was new to you, but I think it was new to me. What was your goal with said sticker?
I don't remember what Weston stuck in the package, so
It
you're gonna have to
has
do.
it. So okay. I'll let me describe it. So the sticker has your logo at the top, but then it basically has all of your business card info underneath it.
Uh huh.
Um,
Yeah. Okay. I remember which one you're talking about now. Yeah.
I I think that sticker is useless for you guys and a waste of money. Um,
Okay.
if
That was totally not my idea, for the record.
I
Um. So the idea behind that was, um, it would be like a business card, except people could stick it to their desk or whatever, and just have it.
so here's the problem. People do not stick business cards to their laptops or their water
Yeah.
bottles or whatever.
Yeah.
They stick, cool stickers with like your logo or whatever. That's
Mm-hmm.
people like stickers like that because it's like, hey, look, I'm doing business with this company. This company's cool. They have a cool logo or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
With business cards they take and they put in a book of all their other business cards. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's not, but like it has to be business card shaped to fit with their other business card.
Mm-hmm.
And what you've essentially done is you've sent a sticker that nobody wants to stick on anything, and then you've sent a business card that doesn't fit in all the business card stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's
I
a piece of
think
paper. Like,
honestly we have like 30 of those stickers, and I think they were just like they were one of those deals where like Sticker Mule or someone was like, hey, try a free sample of these or something like that. And then my cousin was just like, anytime he sees like a ridiculously stupid cheap price on something like that, he's like, I'll come up with something to stick on there. And I think this is just one of those times where he had like an idea, like he saw a deal like $5 for like 50 stickers, they can fit inside this area. And he was just like, well, let me just do this. And I was like, okay, cool.
yeah.
So,
To be
um,
fair, the sticker of the month club basically lives off of those deals.
mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I just saw that and was like, I don't think this is a good use of money for them.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. On some level, like I hadn't actually sat down and really thought about it, but I'm really glad to get the feedback. Like this is something that like I haven't honestly thought longer than 3 seconds. This is literally the longest I've thought about this.
Mhm.
Um, the whole sticker topic. On
I
those
care deeply about
particular ones.
stickers.
Um, but that's really good, valid criticism that I will have to totally bring up with him. Um, I mean, I don't think it's something that we've added to like our normal sticker stuff. Um, but that's a good point. Because I think when we did that, we didn't have business cards that we were sticking in there. So we recently got some business cards. We ordered some new business cards. Because I keep handing out all of mine,
Yep.
and so on the next round of business cards we got some specifically to stick inside the packages that we send out. I think, did yours come with some of those too? Like the
I
actual
have definitely
business?
gotten them in the past. I don't think
Okay.
this one did, but I have received them in the past.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to use now is the business cards, not the stickers. I think we might have just gave you a sticker because who
I had all
knows?
the other ones already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I, I just had that thought.
yeah. No, it's for like a sticker that you would like use in the traditional sense. Yeah, it's a horrible sticker. Um, totally agree with you on that front. Um, but for what it is and for what he did with it, I mean, it was a shot. It was a try. So, but yeah, it's definitely not like it's not pretty. It's a business card sticker basically on
Do
a
you know what
circle.
you need? You need something like a drill and tap chart
Yeah.
because that's your customers. I have a drill and tap chart that I had Scott design for me,
Mm-hmm.
and it is specifically set up for somebody who is designing parts in CAD and or doing the cam. And so it has like it doesn't just have the drill bit size or the um, decimal size of the holes. It has both,
Mm-hmm.
which I find super handy. Then it also has like the counterbore size. And anyway, it's exactly what I like to use, and exactly what I need for doing CAD. And
Mm-hmm.
I was originally going to make that into a sticker and send it out with some of my stuff, but then I realized I'm not sending stuff to machinists.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
but you could totally have Scott like take that design and retrofit it into like your colors and make it a sticker or a poster or something. Even just print
Yeah,
it on
for
nice
sure.
paper and send it out.
Yeah, that's very true. Although most of the stuff we ship, we're not doing job shop stuff. All of that's to usually to like Etsy customers.
No.
So like,
So you need something for them.
yeah, we need something for them because we probably do need a nicer sticker for them. Um, something because a business
For
card with a nice sticker would be nice.
one of my favorite stickers is this, and it's a sticker ruler. It's in millimeters,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 1% off scale, but we won't talk about that. Um, actually, funny. Okay, I will talk about the story. It is actually right. The millimeter scale is correct. However, the way that it was designed in the not Excel document, whatever. I don't know. The artwork file is it was going to end right at the 0 mark.
Mm-hmm.
Um, except that doesn't work for a number of reasons. The biggest of which being that the sticker has to have margins, and so but there's
Yeah.
no 0 line, so the sticker starts counting at 1 millimeter.
Gotcha.
But
Oh.
anyway, it doesn't matter for 99% of applications.
Mm-hmm.
And that sticker is actually popular. Like I have one stuck to my phone case, and my wife's always stealing it to like measure her knitting and stuff. And like, so
That's
that's a
hilarious.
useful sticker that someone can use.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Go hire Scott, have Scott throw together some
I
stickers for
I
you.
really do need to sit down with Scott at some point and just go over a bunch of different ideas. Um, because it sounds like it'd be very useful.
Yeah, he is. I actually spent a little while today trying to figure out if I could hire Scott because I need help, but I can't afford anyone yet. And that was what I figured out is I can't afford to hire anybody.
So I did have one of my students from last semester reach out to me,
Okay.
and they wanted internship this summer.
Ooh, nice.
I told them we can do that as long as they're not expecting to get paid in like money, because we don't have any money yet. Um, but um, we'll see what happens. I've just tried to be open and honest with them. Um, I was like, we don't really have any extra cash, but if you need something, we can work something out. But he's going to be working local. It sounds like he had some internships lined up, but they fell through. Um, and so he's going to be working with his local church. I guess they got like a summer camp deal that he's going to be
Uh-huh.
helping them out with. Um, but that's part time, and so he wants to have some engineering mixed in there, so it's not just a
Yeah.
complete summer of him doing summer camp stuff.
Hmm.
And so he might be working part time with us um, over the spring or over the summer.
That'd be
Um,
nice.
yeah, it'll be a good opportunity to see what it would be like to have an actual employee, especially someone who's part time, low stress, and is only going to be there for a little bit. Um, and that'll kind of get our feet wet for whenever it comes time to actually hire someone on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that makes so much sense. That would be super nice to be able to like basically have a practice employee. You
yeah,
don't normally get to
basically,
practice with people.
yeah.
So,
And I want to get to a point where we can actually pay him. Um,
yeah.
because I do want to and one thing I told him, I said, we have a rack of material here, of scrap material. I said, if you want to come up with a product, um
Hmm.
and we'll put it up on our Etsy page. I said, I will give you a portion of all profits from that product, um because that's going to be something, or I might give you all the profits for that product, to be honest, to help cover your costs. But that'll give you an opportunity to design, machine, prototype, and actually come up with some products on your own. Um, if we don't have the work, like if we have plenty of work to do, like I'll keep you busy. But if we're just sitting around and you need something to do, said I got a whole shelf of scrap material that I would love to come up with more products for Etsy for.
Yeah.
So just have a heyday. So
Now,
that'd be
I would
awesome.
definitely check the laws around interns because you can't pay or you can't not pay an intern if they are doing productive work for the company.
Yeah.
Um, so if they're running a machine, you have to pay them.
Okay.
However, if they are going through the process of developing a product, like as their own little exercise, I think you
Mhm.
could get away with calling that educational,
Yeah.
especially
Well, I mean, if he's just coming out and hanging out with us and I'm teaching him how to use the machines, I don't know how that works either. Um,
if you're teaching them, it's educational and it's fine. Once you start
okay.
having them do something that makes money for the company directly, then it's not educational and you're breaking, minimum wage law.
Okay. I'll have to look into that then. Maybe it'll have to be some sort of like a contract deal, because I know, like, at least from the time my time doing camp work stuff, you get a contract. Like if you figured out your actual hourly rate, you were working for like $1 an
Yeah.
hour. So I mean, there's ways that you
There's
can get around the minimum wage. But I don't know if that would actually apply in this type of setting. But we'll have to figure something out. But even if that's just him coming out and hanging out and um, keeping the shop clean and playing around with making us a new product that he comes up with, where he's not actually doing too much, then I mean, he's not going to be there 40 hours a week. He's got another job, so he'll just, I
mhm.
don't know how many hours he's going to be there. He'll be in and out, if at all. So, but I'm
Yeah.
just excited because it's an opportunity to at least practice having an employee.
Yeah. Yeah, that is huge. Um I was thinking about even with Scott, seeing if I could get him like 1 day a week. Um Part of the problem though is like I know still that like even if I had an employee, they wouldn't be making me more money for a long time. Not
Mm-hmm.
because like Scott isn't capable of it, but I'm not yet. Like my systems aren't
Mm-hmm.
in place where an employee would actually be helpful to me yet.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that's the stuff that you got to get figured out.
yeah.
And that's the stuff that I feel like we're just now starting to scratch the surface on. Like we're starting to get systems in place that are helping keeping us organized and helping us to be like tomorrow I'm probably gonna have to stop off this big job that I'm working on because one, it's not due for another 2.5 weeks. And I've already got a pretty good jump start on it, and there's other stuff that needs to get done in front of it, and so um, probably gonna need to jump off of it and work on some gun stuff because those guys want their stuff a lot sooner. But I don't feel as bad doing that now because I've got probably close to a third of that big job done already,
Mm-hmm.
which is just amazing. So
Yeah. One of the things I've started doing recently, and this came out of a discussion on the Insta Machinist Discord, not the Design the Everything Discord. But I've started in Airtable keeping track of my time and like what am I actually spending time on, and am I actually making enough money with the things that I'm doing to justify the time that I'm spending on them. And
yeah,
I haven't really done it long enough where I can say that it's been helpful, but even just kind of keeping it in the back of your mind is interesting.
yeah,
Um, like on these pens, I know that like if it was just a prototype of the month thing, I am like losing just a huge amount of money on them.
yeah, yeah,
Especially if you start counting my time. I think I'm probably breaking even in terms of materials and tooling, but I'm gonna like they're gonna take me a long time to machine. I think there's 9 different operations to do a pen,
yeah,
with 9 different setups.
yeah.
So
Well, the way my cousin was wording it to me is like if our goal is um 4,000 a week, then that's 2,000 a week for each of us. So he says, "What have you done this hour has made us $50 in this hour?"
yeah,
And so that's kind of the frame of mind that we've been working on. And he said he said like you just need to be making $50 in an hour, like that just needs to happen. So it could be me and the machine, it could be the machine and that machine. And sometimes you're making more and sometimes you're making less, so it's not going to be consistent, but that's kind of the frame of mind that we've kind of entered into is what have you done or what have I worked on today that has made the company $50 an hour at least. Um, or did I work on something that made me, $300, and I got it done in 2 hours, but then the rest of the day I didn't do anything, and so my average for the day is under 50 an hour. So, but
which lately I feel like I've spent a whole lot of time not making money.
yeah,
um, and I don't know. There's reasons for that. Obviously, I'm not super sure what all of them are, but like I don't know. I need to be fixing that so that I am spending the time making money.
yeah, yeah. Now, how's your Etsy store been doing? Has it been doing pretty well? Like,
It was dead, like dead, dead, dead until basically this week, and now I've started picking up some orders again.
okay,
It's still definitely slow, which is normal for me in January, but
okay,
it went from being like 0 orders to now I have a couple that are
okay.
going out tomorrow. So
So I know your big goal has always been um, focus more on the um, big Kickstarter stuff. Um, but have you been? Do you have any plans to try to grow your Etsy stuff as well, or
it's interesting you say that because that's not really my goal per se. It's just like the easiest path that I see forwards is doing the
mm-hmm.
Kickstarters. Yes, I would like to grow my Etsy stuff. I think a lot of that comes down to kind of filling out my product line better and then also doing a better job of like continuously not advertising it. Well, yeah, advertising it on social media with my own posts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was pointed out to me that I don't show the stuff that I have for sale. I only show the stuff that I don't have for sale yet because I'm still working on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, so maybe I should fix that.
yeah. I was gonna say because anytime I look at all your stuff, it's what you're working on, but there's
Yes.
not there's not much call to action stuff that I see. Um, and we don't really show any of our product stuff on our Instagram account either, which shame on us for that. But um, a lot of the stuff that we do show, um, at least points towards the Etsy and the sense of our customizability of some of the stuff we do on, because a lot of our stuff that sells on Etsy is customizable coins and things of that nature. Our customized stuff sells so much better than everything else.
Yeah.
And you can see that when you look at our page because it's very diverse. So I don't know how much of our Instagram page actually drives Etsy traffic though. Probably very little.
The other thing, now that I'm thinking about it, that I should fix is the link in my Instagram profile right now points towards the Kickstarter. It does not point towards my Etsy store. And I'm probably missing out on sales because of that. I should fix that. Especially because I had a couple posts blow up recently and I got like, I don't know, 500,000 views in the last month. Yeah, I should fix that. I'll do that tonight when we're done here.
Yeah, that'll help. But yeah, I mean, we just got to keep focusing on growing our respective Etsy pages. I'd love to eventually get big enough to the point where I can move off Etsy and kind of have my own website going, which we have had a couple organic sales through our actual website. I've had 3 or 4 now, I think, in total.
I need to finish up designtheeverything.com. I moved my Etsy website to betterkeychains.com. And so I am redoing, like I'm making from scratch a Shopify website that will be on designtheeverything.com. And eventually I'm going to get rid of that Etsy website. And somehow, and I'm not sure how, but like I had designtheeverything.com forwarding to betterkeychains.com, but that forward broke and I can't figure out how to fix it. So designtheeverything.com goes nowhere right now. And that link is in many places.
Oops.
Yeah, so I need to get that fixed.
Oh, we have a post that we're going to be probably doing here in a little bit. For a riser block that we did for fidget things. Well, I'm thinking of it.
Sweet.
So it was a massive, like 1 foot by 3.5 by 4.5 block of aluminum.
That is a big chunk of aluminum.
Yeah, it was massive. And we had to use a really long reach end mill to clean up all the sides. And I feel really bad because I got some chatter in it in a couple places. And I asked him if it was okay if we should try to clean that up or not. And he's like, it's fine. It's a riser block. He's like, I'm only worried about the top and the bottom. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I want to make stuff that looks really pretty.
Could have like Cerakoted it or something for him.
Yeah. Well, we almost did. Like I mentioned that to him. Like, can we Cerakote it? Like, would you want that? And he's like, ooh, that's tempting. We talked about it a little bit, and I was like, well, this is what we normally charge for Cerakote. And he's like, I don't really need it that bad, so probably not. And I was like, it looks so cool. Like, I really wanted to Cerakote it and then like engrave his logo into it. I think it would look sick, but we didn't end up doing that. But it did end up like it was a job that I was really nervous. Like I was really excited to take. I'm really love working with other people in the space. But it made me a little bit nervous. Guy. Oh, he really is. But it was so nerve-wracking because of how precise everything needed to be. But the Tormach ended up doing it really well. So I was pretty impressed by the time we were done. I had my gauge set and I was checking all my holes because they need to be like a perfect slip fit. And I did like the pop test a bunch of the holes and they were all perfect. And then he stuck his vise on it and it lined up perfectly. So I'm hoping that he'll send us some photos when he gets it all installed. But it was a lot of fun. And I used it and it has the same hole locations as because he's got a Tormach, not Tormach, a Saunders machine work plate. Same one similar bolt pattern as what's on mine versus his, even though he's got a different machine. And
the bolt pattern's all the same everywhere.
Yeah, bolt pattern's all the same. So I stuck mine on there. I stuck it on there on mine, and it was really cool seeing it like pop on the pins. And I was like, it lines up on my grid.
Yep.
So
I need to get some more of the Saunders whole pattern palettes, which I used to think were dumb. I used to not understand why anyone would want to get a palette that had the Saunders Machine Works hole pattern on it already, because it's already on your table. Why do you need another one? Well, it turns out they're really handy for changing out Modvice based setups. And I have one. I only have one of them, and it has my salami slice setup on there, which I use for, I don't know, 5 or 6 different things. And it was like, man, I really wish I could put the setup for these. What am I doing? The coin stands. I wish I could put the setup for the coin stands on its own palette, so I could pop that on and off and still be able to do other things. And like the pen setup, I wish that was on its own palette. And suddenly it was like, oh, to make all this happen, I want $800 of palettes. Maybe now is not the right time to do that, but it saved me so much time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I am glad we got that palette system though, because like this big job, I'm getting to use it a lot, and I'm coming up with a lot of different setups to hold all the different parts and different orientations.
What palette system? Did you DIY something, or did you go with like the Saunders palettes? I don't remember.
It's the Saunders palettes, but we just got the bare aluminum one.
Yes.
Like the cheapest version. I would love to get a more robust one. But it's worked great for what we have it for right now.
Yeah, I use several of those. I think I have 2 that are set up for the carabiners, and I think I have a blank one laying around. Yeah, those pallets are great, and it's like almost cheaper to buy the pallet than it is to buy aluminum. Not quite, but it's close.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been great. I had some plates that I had to hold up at a really weird angle, and
I saw that.
Yeah, and so I gotta talk about that one a little bit.
Yep.
So it's a 90-degree plate, and I had to make sure the top was perfectly parallel, and they were water jet cut, and where they were hitting on that edge, on that corner, versus where I set the Saunders vise on the table, like I thought I could just get it perfectly aligned once and then be done, like at the top level, but they were all off just ever so slightly. So what I ended up doing was I stuck one of those down at the base of it, and I left them loose, and then I'd stick it on there, and as I tightened it up, it would level it out. And so I probed one end and then probed the other end, and then just slowly crank the Saunders pallet in until I got it perfectly level. Then I'd lock down the big vise onto the part, and that'd hold it in place, and then that Saunders would just stay there. You wouldn't really tighten the Saunders plate anymore down once you got it level, but it would keep it level whenever you were drilling and tapping and whatnot. And it worked beautifully. I was so happy with that.
Yeah, I kind of laughed at that setup, but I was like, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it would like it worked out so well. Like it was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. But I was only drilling and tapping, so all my force, like I didn't have any major side loading forces in any direction. Like it worked well.
Do you have any sort of work stop on your vise?
I do. And I've only recently started using it, and because I thought it was dumb, like when I got it in person. Like when I first got it in person, I'm like, this is dumb. Like this doesn't work well. It's too loose and whatnot. And I figured out how to tighten everything down well, and I started using it on everything that I can. And I love it. Like even if I'm making like 3 parts, I'm like, no, I'm setting this thing up because it just makes it that much faster. That's much more accurate. Like it's awesome. It would be dumb not to use it.
Yeah, I have a Kowalski Precision work stop, which uses the Saunders Machine Works mounting pattern. So it's basically like a work stop for the mod vise. It looks like it could be a Saunders Machine Work product, except it's not. Cool. And it's super nice. And the only problem with it is I only have one of them, and it's right now on my salami slice fixture. On that pallet, and I needed 2 more today, and I ended up doing like the trick where you use a parallel against the side of your vise to line it up with the edge, and I was doing it like, man, I wish I had my work stop. It was so much easier than this.
Yeah,
Or that thing with the 1-2-3 block, because I could have ruined a $40 end mill and the parts and, who knows what else just by a dumb mistake. And that work stop would have prevented it.
Yep.
But I think they're like $100 though.
Oof.
And again, that's money that I don't want to spend right now.
Yeah. That's the hard part that we both have is like, there's so much stuff that we would like to get that would make our lives so much easier, but you can't justify the cost at this point in time.
He also has a adapter block to put a 5th axis dovetail vise on the micro arc. Ooh. And it is very reasonably priced. The only problem is you then have to buy the 5th axis dovetail vise, and that is not reasonably priced.
Yeah. Which a 4th axis, it is. We've had so many requests for things that, like, if I got one, I would use it, and that's something that's got to be high up on our wish list to buy.
I have used it much less than I thought I would. I'm going to be using it on the pen. I've used it on things in the past. Part of my problem is work holding. Is I don't have a good method of holding not round things because I only have a 3-jaw chuck with it.
Yeah. We had an opportunity to buy one cheaper, and I don't know if that opportunity has fled yet or not. I really want to get it. We just don't have enough money set aside yet for it. And it's like, we're almost there on, I think. I need to go check. I think when we get done with this big job, we might have enough extra cash to be able to swing it. But I really want to get it because I think in a lot of situations, it would be phenomenal for the amount of prototype weird jobs we do. Like I would put it to use. And
if you don't get that, let's talk about mine. Because like I said, I really don't use mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I want to build a pallet system around it where I can load stuff up on it. And like I want to
you want a rotovise, like the Pearson rotovise.
Yes, basically like the Pearson rotovise. But I also want to have a quick change. Like I don't want to just have the rotovise mounted on it. I want to have a quick change base where I can go between like a rotovise or something else in that same spot, like a dovetail vise that would allow me to go, or a 5C collet system. Like I want to have a quick change plate.
Yeah, that'd be nice
of some kind.
Well, isn't Pearson working on a 5th axis pallet system or a 5-axis pallet system, I should say?
Yes,
and Saunders is working on a 0 point, which that might be the way.
Oh, really?
Yes. He's mentioned it. I don't think we've gotten farther than podcast mentions.
Oh. I know I just listened to the Pearson podcast on Within Tolerance, and that was a phenomenal podcast. Any podcast with Pearson
yes,
is absolutely amazing. I would love to just follow him around for like a month and just absorb everything that happens throughout the day in his week or month. Because I feel like he doesn't get as much publicity as Saunders and as Grimsmo, but I feel like he's got his crap together.
Yes, he does.
Like he knows how to get things running smooth. And he's got a really good philosophy. Like even like his video that he had on orientation, like these are the values of the company, this is this, that, and the other. Like I was like, man, I'm eating all this stuff up. Like this is amazing.
One of the I think biggest nuggets that I have heard about lean, he mentioned on the podcast, on the Within Tolerance podcast the other day, and that was like, he was like, we don't. Oh, how did he word it? He basically made the differentiation between people-centric lean and profit-centric lean. And he was like, we don't do profit-centric lean, we do people-centric lean. And it's like, oh, this is like when you hear horror stories about lean being the worst thing ever, it's because the companies are too focused on profit-centric lean and they don't understand people-centric lean. And it was just like light bulb, like, oh, that right there is how you explain lean and like sell it to people. who have been
Yeah.
burned by it before, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was a great moment. Good job, Pierce.
So, my grandfather. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast. Have I talked about my grandpa at all on the podcast?
You mentioned him a couple times. He comes and sits in
Yeah.
a rocking chair in your shop.
Well, yeah, but did I talk about the business that he got started? And
Cabinets,
how
I believe, or woodworking.
and how he sold it.
Yes.
Okay, well the guys that came in behind him, they hired in some lean experts or something, and they
Mm-hmm.
completely shut down the plant. And I think it's profit centric lean situation.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see what happens with them in the long term. I really hope they make it out of this. But I hear a lot of horror stories coming from up in that direction.
Yep.
So yeah, I feel bad. Like I really want to see that place succeed. I have a lot of memories up there. Because as you can imagine, I mean, I grew up literally running the halls of that
Yep.
manufacturing plant, and actually, as a kid, they had a whole conveyor system for running the cabinets around,
Uh-huh.
um, and they'd actually hung from the ceiling, and they had what they look like giant coat hangers. And the reason they did that was because before it went to assembly, it had to go to paint, and so by having them on this giant conveyor system that was like hung from the roof, what they do is they put two big staples in the back of all the different cabinet pieces, and then they'd stick them on this like giant hanger,
Yep.
and then the whole conveyor went through the paint booths, and they paint one side and then flip it around and paint the other side. And then as it went out, it would go up into the rafters of the building and be way
Interesting.
up high above your head, and then
Yeah.
that's how they would dry. And it
Okay.
just snake back and forth really slowly. And by the time it got done and it came down lower where they'd pull them off, they'd be dry and ready to take off. Well, as a kid, the workers on the line that I would know, like this thing would have a hanger going by, every few seconds, but they wouldn't always have a cabinet on it. So like literally, like one of the workers would like grab me and pick me up and have me hang onto one of those hangers, and then I'd go way up into the rafters while they're standing under me, like, all right, let me know when you're gonna drop, and I just let go, and they'd like catch me, and I'm like, oh, this is so much fun.
Totally OSHA approved.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, this was back in the '90s. They didn't care back then.
Anyway, we're getting long on time here, but going back a
Yeah.
step to talk about podcasts and lean, there is a new podcast that I have been thoroughly enjoying by the guy behind Austere Manufacturing and somebody else. I'm sorry, somebody else. I don't remember your name. It is called Incremental, the Continuous Improvement Podcast. It's at very least on Spotify right now. I couldn't find it on my normal podcast app, but like I know from doing this podcast, it takes like a week sometimes to get everything filtered through. It has been really interesting, and I've been highly enjoying that podcast. So if you haven't listened to it, you should. Austere Manufacturing, like he has the coolest setup ever, where he has I think it's a Speedio, not a Robo Drill, but a Speedio with grippers in the spindle, and they're like doing like not one piece flow, but his grippers are taking parts and moving them around on the machine. Like it's the coolest form of automation ever.
I'll have to look that up. That sounds awesome.
The Continuous Improvement Podcast, Incremental, the Continuous Improvement Podcast on Spotify. Seriously good. Go check it out. I'm sure none of them listen to this podcast, and they're never going to know we shouted them out. But
oh yeah, so they only have 3 episodes. Yeah,
they only have 3 episodes. They like just started, and I think they did like one a day for 3 days, and now they're going to move to a monthly schedule or a weekly schedule.
Dude, that's awesome.
So I think I'm halfway through the 2nd episode, and I've just been really enjoying it.
Well, I've just started following them, so I'm gonna add them to my list and wish.
Austere Manufacturing does Kanbans right. Nobody else does Kanbans right on the internet.
Really? Not even Jay?
Sorry, Jay, but no, he does Kanbans wrong.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to listen then. That way I can have as good of a reaction as you, or has strong of an opinion as you.
I sometimes I need to, in a podcast, sit down and go through in detail the Chick-fil-A chicken production system.
Oh, that'd be
because that's
fun.
where I learned lean. And I didn't even like I was working at Chick-fil-A when I was going through school, and I, 2 years later or something, 2 years after working there, I had a like manufacturing processes or something like that class, and it just kind of briefly touched on lean, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what lean is. We're doing this. Because it was never described to us as lean, but it was the, one of the best run lean systems that I have seen in terms of like inventory management and, making sure the product flows in the right order and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because that store was super, like, we were super resource limited. We couldn't keep inventory for more than like we didn't have enough room to inventory stuff for more than like a day and a quarter of operations. And so it was constantly, like we were dependent on a truck coming in every single day and managing all that. And like the amount of machines we had were just barely enough to keep up with like our peak hours. And it was a very interesting exercise. And I need to talk about lean chicken.
Lean chicken. Yeah.
Lean chicken.
Not how Chick-fil-A likes their chicken, but how they like their process. No, that's great.
Yeah, it was by far the best lesson in manufacturing I have ever had.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. That's awesome. All right, well, I guess I'll close this out.
Yep.
Well, for all of you that have held on for almost 2 hours at this point, wow, it's been a long podcast.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us. I guess we'll like and share and tell all your friends about us and about AJ's other podcast that he mentioned earlier.
Not mine. Austere Manufacturing.
Well, Austere Manufacturing. Yeah, not his, but go look at them as well, and we'll catch you all next week. So this is Harrison with.
Oh. I jumped the gun.
Harrison with Precision Ingenuity, signing out with AJ from Design the Everything.
Bye.